Hi guys, in this tutorial we're going to create a planetary system using the child parent feature within Blender. First thing I'm going to do is press numpad 7, and by doing that I go into top orthographic view, select the cube, X, delete, and you can use any shape you want. I'm just, for illustration purposes, I'm going to use a UV sphere throughout. I select the UV sphere, I right click on it, I shade smooth. I'm going to scale this up. And you can choose the material selection over here if you want, and you can add a material. And if you, in this case, this would be the star. If you're adding a star, you probably want to use an emission, and then you'd want to choose like a orange or red or whatever the case may be. And you probably want to rename this star. And then you want to press Shift A, and then we're going to create a rig, which is an empty. We'll choose a circle. And then we'll press S to scale it out, and it has to be bigger than the star. That's important. And then we're going to rotate it on the x-axis and type in 90 for 90 degrees. Now that we've done that, we've got our empty selected. We'll hold in Shift, and then we'll select our star, and you'll see that the rig is dark orange. The star's got a light orange, and then you press Control P, and you select Object. Now if we move the rig, it won't move the star, but if we move the star, it automatically moves the rig. Great. So now that we've done that, we can actually move this over here for now. We might even leave it there. And we can delete all this stuff just for the time being. We don't actually need anything but what we're working with. And you can see that the empty, which we're going to rename to star rig, is there. There we go. Now what we want to do is we want to press Shift A, and now we're going to add a planet. And the planet we are going to use is a mesh and a UV sphere again. Perfect. Now right click, shade smooth. If you want, you can add a material. I'm going to use green this time. There we go. Then I'm going to press Shift A, and we're going to add a rig, which is an empty and a circle. Then you're going to press S to scale it, make sure it's bigger than this planet, then R to rotate it, press X to rotate on the x-axis, and then type in 90 to rotate it 90 degrees so it looks like this in top orthographic view. With this selected, you want to press Shift and select the actual planet, and you'll notice that your rig is dark orange and your planet is light orange. Then you press Control P to parent, and you select Object. And just like that, we've created a rig there, as easy as that. And we're going to rename the sphere. Planetary, let's call it planet. And inside of this, we have this empty, and we're going to rename this planet empty. We're going to rename these empties because if you decide to make your scene more complicated, you might have to, or you might have multiple empties. Now that we've done that, we can actually just select our planet, and we can move our planet over here. Then we're going to press Shift A, we're going to choose a mesh, and we're going to use the UV sphere again. Bear in mind, the size of your UV sphere doesn't really matter. I'm just making it simple. That's why I'm making it smaller each time. But it's not any less complicated. It's just what we're used to. And now we're going to make a moon, which I'm going to make, I guess, yellow or whitish yellow, like that. Now that we've got that, let's name this sphere Moon. Now that we've got our moon, next thing we want to do is press Shift A. Let's add an empty circle. We notice that this is already larger than the moon, so that's perfect. We can just rotate it on the x-axis 90 degrees. And then we press Shift, select the moon, Control P to parent it to the object. So each time the rig is the child to the parent, which is the planet. Now that we've got a sun, a planet, and a moon, let's connect everything. Now, first thing we want to do is we want to rotate the moon around the planet. So let's do that. So all you need to do now is you need to select the moon, Shift, select the planet rig over here, and then you press Control P, to object. Now, one thing to keep in mind is now if you select this rig and you just press R, it automatically rotates that moon, which will be great for an animation. Now we can do the same with this planet over here. We select this planet, we press Shift and select this rig. So technically this rig, yeah, which is called the star rig, which should be the star to green planet rig. That's what it should be more precise, because if you had more planets, you would have to do that if you want to rotate them at different speeds. So we select that and we press Control P, object. And just like that, if we look in our scenario, it looks like we just created a star, but there's a lot going on here. So the first thing we want to do now is pull up our graph editor over here. I believe that's the name. Yeah, it's called a graph editor. And we are going to, we could add debris and make it rotate around the moon, but I'm going to leave that for now. We're going to select this, turn this on, and we're going to select this rig over here, and we're going to press R to rotate it just an inch, and it automatically creates a rig there. And then we're going to put this all the way on 50, and we're going to rotate it at any pace you wish. You could rotate it fast, you could rotate it slow. It's all up to you. And you probably want to rotate it evenly, more or less. Well, so it'll look like it's speeding up and slowing down. And that's quite hard to explain, but you could do that if you wanted to. So mine's not perfect, it's for illustration purposes only, but there you get it. So now we've got our first rig in action. The next thing we want to do is select our star rig. And we're going to go back to frame 1, and we're going to rotate it a smidge. Go to 50. And maybe this planet is moving faster around than what the moon is moving around the planet. And if we just want to see how this looks, we move back here and we press spacebar to play. You can see it works. And just so that it doesn't stop playing, I'm just going to change the length of here to 100. So when I play it, will just continue the whole time. Although this doesn't make its full cycle, but you kind of get the idea. The other thing you might want to do, which is super easy to do, is you're like, okay, great, that looks great from top orthographic view, but everything is kind of the same level, and that's not how space works. So you might want to move things around, but because we created these rigs, it's so easy. You could literally decide, right, so I actually want this down here, and you might decide you select this rig and might rotate it on the y-axis like that. And now when you play, you can create a real interesting scene where things move around. So it's as easy as that. Hopefully this is a great start for you dealing with parent and child, the child feature in Blender, and happy blending.